Just after midnight on the 31st of August, 1997, a black Mercedes raced into a tunnel in the heart of Paris, chased by a swarm of cameras. 13 seconds later, it slammed into a concrete pillar at twice the speed limit. Inside was the most photographed woman on Earth, a princess, a mother of a future king, and in a few hours she would be gone at just 36 years old. For decades, the world has whispered one word about that night: murder. This is the whole story of Diana, the shy teenager, the fairy tale, the heartbreak, the saint, and the truth about how she really died, according to the people who actually investigated it. She was born Diana Frances Spencer on the 1st of July, 1961. In Norfolk, England, into one of Britain's oldest aristocratic families, living right beside the royal estate at Sandringham. But the storybook house hid an unhappy home. Her parents' marriage collapsed when she was small, and Diana grew up a shy, gentle girl, happiest with children and animals, not at all the type you'd expect to one day captivate the planet. As a young woman, she didn't chase fame or power. She worked as a kindergarten assistant in London, looking after other people's toddlers. She was 19 years old, and almost no one knew her name. Then came the prince, in 1981. The world learned that Lady Diana Spencer was engaged to Charles, the Prince of Wales and heir to the British throne. Overnight, the shy nursery assistant became the most famous fiancé alive. On the 29th of July, 1981, she married him at St. Paul's Cathedral in a gown with a 25-foot train. An estimated 750 million people watched around the world. It looked, to everyone, like a fairy tale. But a fairy tale is a story, and this one had a flaw from the very beginning. Diana was barely 20. Charles still loved another woman, and the cameras that adored her would never, ever leave her alone again. Because the world didn't just like Diana, it was obsessed with her. Her clothes, her hair, her shy glance up from under her fringe. She became the most photographed person on the planet, and the monarchy had never seen anything like her. And she used it. When her sons arrived, William in 1982, Harry in 1984, she refused to raise them like distant royals. She took them to theme parks and burger restaurants, hugged them in public, and let them simply be kids. She was rewriting what a royal mother could be. She broke the rules everywhere. Where royalty was meant to stay cold and untouchable, Diana reached out, literally. She wanted to touch people the establishment was afraid to go near. In 1987, at the height of global panic about AIDS, when many believed you could catch it from a touch, Diana sat with a dying patient and shook his hand, with no gloves on. That single image did more to fight the stigma than 1,000 speeches. She comforted the sick, the homeless, the dying. She looked people in the eye. The press called her cold and calculating. The public called her something else, their princess. The warmth was real, and it was changing how the whole world saw her. Behind the palace walls, though, the fairy tale was quietly falling apart. The marriage was cold and lonely. Diana struggled in silence with her health and her heartbreak, trapped inside the most watched relationship in the world. And then the silence broke. Through the early 90s, the cracks spilled into the open, the rumors, the rival, the sense that there were, as she would famously put it, 3 people in the marriage. The fairy tale was now a very public war. In 1996, it ended. Diana and Charles were officially divorced. She kept the title Princess of Wales, but was stripped of the words Her Royal Highness. She was, for the first time in 15 years, free of the royal machine, and she had no idea how little time she had left. Freedom changed her. No longer bound by palace rules, Diana threw herself into causes the world had ignored, and she became, if anything, even more powerful. She wasn't a royal accessory anymore. She was a force. In January 1997, she did the most daring thing of her life. She walked, in a visor and body armor, straight through an active minefield in Angola to show the world what landmines do to innocent people. The photographs stunned the planet and shamed governments into action. Critics called it inappropriate for a princess. Diana didn't care. Her campaign helped push the world toward a global treaty banning these weapons, a treaty signed within months that would go on to save countless lives. By the summer of 1997, Diana was arguably the most famous, most beloved woman alive. Divorced, independent, adored, and finally, it seemed, finding happiness on her own terms. That summer, she grew close to Dodi Fade, son of the billionaire who owned the Ritz Hotel in Paris and the Harrods department store in London. The two holidayed together, trailed everywhere by photographers desperate for the picture that would pay a fortune. On the 30th of August, 1997, the couple flew into Paris. The paparazzi were waiting at the airport. They were waiting at the hotel. Every move Diana made that day was hunted by men with cameras and motorbikes. Late that night, to escape the crowd outside the Ritz, a plan was made. A car would act as a decoy, while Diana and Dodi slipped out a back entrance and sped to Dodi's apartment. Behind the wheel was Henry Paul, the hotel's deputy head of security. Just after midnight, the Mercedes pulled away and the photographers gave chase, on motorbikes and in cars. To lose them, the driver hit the accelerator, racing through the Paris streets toward an underpass by the river, the Alma Tunnel. He was going far too fast. Inside the tunnel, the car clipped another vehicle, spun, and struck the 13th concrete pillar head-on. In an instant, the chase was over, and so was the Fairytale. It was just past midnight on the 31st of August, 1997. Dodi Fade and the driver were killed instantly. Diana's bodyguard, the only one wearing a seatbelt, somehow survived, and Diana, gravely injured, was rushed to a Paris hospital. For hours, surgeons fought to save her, but the injuries were too severe. In the early morning, Diana, Princess of Wales, was pronounced dead. She was 36. What happened next had never been seen before. An ocean of flowers, over 1 million bouquets, buried the gates of her palace. Strangers wept in the streets. A cold, ancient monarchy suddenly looked badly out of step with a grieving public that demanded to see its pain. And almost immediately, a darker feeling crept in. How could the most protected woman in the world die like this, chased into a tunnel in the middle of the night? To millions, it felt like too much to be an accident. The whispers began at once. The loudest voice belonged to Dodi's father, the billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed. He claimed, publicly and for years, that this was no accident at all, that Diana and his son had been murdered deliberately by the British establishment. His allegation went further still. He claimed Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child, that the couple were about to be engaged, and that the secret services had killed them to stop a princess, the mother of a future king, from marrying his son. To his supporters, it explained everything. On the 6th of September, 1997, the world watched her funeral at Westminster Abbey. Her sons, just 15 and 12, walked behind her coffin. Elton John sang a rewritten Candle in the Wind. Outside, a nation stood in silence, but the questions did not go silent. Because of those questions, Britain launched one of the most exhaustive investigations in its history. Police re-examined everything. The probe ran for years, cost millions, and chased down every single conspiracy claim, one by one. And here is what they found, the part most people never hear. Forensic tests showed Diana was not pregnant. There was no evidence an engagement had even been planned. Every claim of a Secret Service plot was examined, and everyone was found to be without foundation. The real answer was simpler and sadder. The driver, Henry Paul, had been drinking far over the limit and was speeding to escape the paparazzi. No one in the back seat wore a seatbelt. It was not a plot. It was a reckless, avoidable, heartbreaking accident. In 2008, after hearing some 250 witnesses, a jury delivered its official verdict: unlawful killing, caused by the grossly negligent driving of the chasing paparazzi and of their own intoxicated driver. Not murder, negligence. That is the answer of the people who actually examined the evidence. Some, including Dodi's father, never accepted it and never will. And it is fair to say a few questions about that night remain debated to this day. But the pregnancy, the engagement, the assassination, the pillars of the conspiracy did not survive contact with the facts. What did survive was her. The treaty she fought for has cleared minefields across the world. The stigma she touched away has saved lives. And the two boys who walked behind her coffin grew into men who still carry her name into every cause they take up. So rest easy, Diana. The cameras that chased you your whole life finally lost you, but the kindness you gave away never did. They tried to make you a fairy tale, then a scandal, then a mystery. You were something rarer. You were real. If this one moved you, follow a new legend every week. We've told the story of the king of pop, the voice, and the poet who saw it coming. Now the people's princess. Who should we cover next? Drop a name in the comments.